What's happening, YTBC? Just a quick response video to my brother Muayboran74 in regards to his video he made about Roy Jones backs Povetkin accused of cooning. Check out the video. My brother gave his perspective on his thoughts on the situation itself, and just touch on one or two points with regards to how he felt Roy Jones handled the situation, and his perspective on what cooning is. This first and first, in regards to the cooning angle of it, I'm not really going to get into that particular aspect, and I'll tell you why. It is quite an emotive subject when it comes to black Americans specifically, but black people in general. Everybody has their own particular perspective in regards to cooning, and he gave his perspective, and that's cool. That's the way he sees things. I have my own particular perspective on the way I see things, and at the end of the day, we can have a dialogue and have a discussion about things without getting all personal about things. And Muayboran74, he gave a really very good perspective. I took it in. I took a really good, like I said, it was a great perspective in regards to that side of things. And it's all about learning and listening to how people look at things, the way they look at things, and trying to take something from it. And also in regards to his video, I just wanted to say, in no way, shape, or form was he supporting Roy Jones, decision to back Povetkin at all. That's what I took from this video. That's the most important thing. He didn't say he supported Roy Jones for backing Povetkin. He never said that anywhere in the video. So I know some people dislike the video and dislike certain aspects of the video, and I can understand why. I can fully take that in. But from my perspective, I looked at the video and I took the whole context of the whole video and tried to have appreciation for the way he was trying to, or the way he was evaluating the situation, and I appreciate that. Nobody can justify the fact that Roy Jones was supporting Povetkin. Nobody can justify it in the sense that obviously Povetkin is a drug, he's a drug cheat, and you can't just, nobody can justify that. Nobody, and not in no way, shape, or form was he justifying that on this video either. So, if people looked at it from that particular perspective, or this is more of a apologetic or sort of like a justification for Roy's actions, no. The way I look at it is, Roy, for me, it kind of, from what I took from the video, it's like it kind of feels as if like Roy may have been compromised based on the circumstances around him, maybe not actually having the full facts of the drug failure, the failed drug tests, the multiple drug tests before this drug test, that sort of thing. He may not have had the full facts at that point, and I'm not justifying Roy's actions whatsoever myself. All I'm just saying is that, when people, decide to, say things, maybe sometimes they may not have the full facts in front of them, so they say things, and it doesn't justify the fact that whatever they say was wrong anyway. It doesn't justify it. Roy was wrong in every way, shape, or form, regardless of his own personal circumstances with regards to his Russian citizenship, and he probably felt that he would be under pressure to support his newly acquired countrymen, and that may have sort of contributed to the fact that he made the statement he made was in every way, shape, or form wasn't justified. You just can't support that. You just can't. So maybe in hindsight, if Roy probably looks back at the way he responded to the questions, he may have answered it in a different way. Or specifically, from my opinion, I don't think he should have said anything in the first place. I just think that if he was coerced, or he was put under pressure, or he was compromised, that's probably the best word, if he was compromised by the fact that he is now a Russian citizen, if he was compromised, it would have been better for him not to actually say anything, and just left it as that and said, look, let's just get the full facts of the situation here. There's obviously something's gone on here. I don't want to say too much about it, based on my circumstances, being, obviously now being a Russian citizen and being a naturalized American. This is not an America versus Russia thing. It was never that. That was not the situation. But it would have been better for him not to actually say anything, from my point of view. That's the sad thing. So obviously, when he says this, it puts a bitter taste in people's mouths. That obviously, Roy, being an American, could provide. It's trying to give the indication that he was supporting a drug cheat. And I think that's the thing that resonates heavily on a lot of people's minds. Like, I mean, how can you justify, trying to support somebody who's a drug cheat? You can't. As soon as it's a failed drug test, regardless, if in any way, shape, or form, the way you look at it, the guy's failed a test, and you have to. You can't say something like, even if you're compromised, due to economic circumstances or due to his working environment being at HBO. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, people do say some dumb shit under duress. They do say when they're put under, maybe they're put under pressure, which we don't know about. But again, I'm not justifying what Roy said. No way. There's no way in the world. You can't justify that. You just can't. And so it just was a shame that Roy said what he said. It's such a shame because, it just. You can't just, that's the thing. But I'm not going to, like I said, with the Cooney thing, we all have our different perspectives on that. And, like I said, some people would disagree with what, my brother said, Muayboran74, and some people will agree with what he said. But it is a conversation that needs to be had, within the community itself, rather than outside influences trying to pit one side against the other and pit, I'm not going to do that because, like I said, this guy's a very intelligent brother. He's very, very smart. He makes incredible videos. I take a lot, I have, a lot of pride in saying that, he's one of the very few channels in the YTBC that, I can always take something from. Obviously, I respect a lot of brothers in the YTBC, and I don't want people to sort of take it, out of context. He's not supporting Roy Jones. I want to make that fact clear. He's not supporting Roy Jones. He's not saying Roy Jones was right. He's not trying to justify what Roy Jones, did or said, or and he's not trying to create some kind of a personal divide between channels. That's the way I look at it. Now, obviously, if other people see it that way, then that's up to them to actually describe and provide their own dialogue as to how they see it that way. But I only see it from. I can only see it from my point of view, and I try to look at it from the perspective of, well, let's listen to what this guy is saying. He, Muayboran himself might be wrong. I might be wrong. I don't know, but I think what we can all agree, as from every single rational channel out there, is that what Roy Jones said in regards to trying to defend or justify the actions of Povetkin in regards to the PED failed drug test was wrong. I think all the rational channels in the YTBC can agree on that it was wrong, and I hope that one day Roy will come back out and say, look, you know what, this is the circumstances I have, as you well know. I'm not trying to justify what I said, and I was wrong, and I apologize to Deontay Wilder for stating that fact, even though I do understand, obviously, that there may have been outside influences for him to actually say what he said. That's just my video. If people get upset about my thoughts, it's just my thoughts. So, anyways, Muayboran, thanks for the video, man. It was it was interesting. Obviously, some parts I disagree with, some parts I do agree with, but all in all, it is an opinion, and we all have one. So, that's how it goes. Peace, my brother. Thanks. Peace.